In this world of charismatic Christian leaders, 1997, JL, like her peers, was interested in getting the attention of Paul Cain. He's one of the so-called Kansas City prophets and was very much in the picture during Mike's early days of ministry.
To get a word from Paul Cain, in that time and era was like the prophet of, the generations of this season, the greatest one of all. I run into Jane Doe and she's like, you would not believe this. You got a word from Paul Cain. So she's got the tape and we use the key to go to the church and get into Mike's office and find a tape player and play this word. In my times of meeting with Mike, I had told him about 2 different, what I would call, encounters with the Lord when I was young. I also told him about a desire that I had for a certain ministry. Well, Mike knew that I was not going to be at that conference because I had ran into him and told him I was really bummed I wasn't going to be able to be there. As we're listening to this word on the tape player in Mike's office, Jane Doe and I, Mike comes, and it ensued in us having multiple different conversations about celibacy and what we kind of called it, and what it's been called a lot in the IHOP world is consecration, extended seasons of consecration. I leave, go off into my life, get married, have children, and later on in life, I become dear friends through my husband with Paul Cain's former assistant. And I begin sharing my experience and the confusion that has ensued over my life because of that word and certain things not happening and the weight of it that I have carried and how different parts of it have felt off and wrong and difficult.
JL has no evidence that Mike passed personal information about her over to Paul Cain in order to make her prophetic word more impactful. But before his death, Paul Cain's former assistant told her and others that was, at times, how Paul Cain worked.
He says at that time, Paul Cain was fed words about people, oftentimes. And some of the words that were given are quote unquote true, and then some of them were information fed to them by people. And all of these years, I've been able to make peace with that time. At the time, I had thought that Paul knew the exact words I had shared with Mike because of the fact that God was there and heard me talking. And I've come to firmly believe that was actually information passed along